So what is good, y'all? It is Anime K and we are back with a video, and today I'm going to be talking about season 3 and season 4 of Castlevania, like I promised. Now, if you haven't seen my other video on Castlevania, I suggest you check that out before watching this video, because I gave my thoughts and opinions on that. And really, I didn't really enjoy Castlevania season 1 and season 2 as much as I enjoyed season 3 and season 4, because the stuff that I voiced was season 1 and season 2, I thought the pacing was really bad, and I just thought altogether the story was kind of rushed. While I did enjoy it a little bit, I didn't really enjoy season 1 and season 2 that much. But guys, we have a positive video today because I actually enjoyed season 3 and season 4 of Castlevania, and I want to get into the characters actually and start talking about the different characters and what I liked about them, really, because I thoroughly enjoyed season 3 and season 4 of Castlevania. And I'm just going to get into every character, then at the end of the video I'm going to tell you why I like the season overall. So first, we're going to talk about Carmilla. Now, Carmilla is a character that appeared in season 1 actually of Castlevania, if I'm not mistaken, maybe season 2, but I'm sure it was season 1, right? And she came because when Dracula was assembling all his, I guess, knights, or whatever you really want to call them, right? His knight, basically the best vampires out there, right? He summoned her, but she came late. And basically, right, Carmilla, she manipulates everyone in the castle, right? And then takes over, and then obviously that ultimately leads to Dracula's death. But in season 3, I think she's a very important character for the season, because one, her character is kind of charismatic in season 1 and season 2, and she's a very interesting character. Now, in season 3, we get to learn a bit of her backstory, and she said she used to get used by old men all the time, where at first I think they could have used the wording better. I mean, I did watch it in English dub, so it might have sounded different in Japanese, but at first I was like, you were used by old men. It was a bit cringe, you know. It gave the wrong impression, but I think what she means is she was always used by men. So that's why when she gets summoned to Dracula's castle, right, and she finds out that Dracula is just like all the other men, you know, depressed, wants to kill everyone, hungry on power, that's why she decides to take it over. Now, what I think from Carmilla is, right, one, her development in the show and when we get to learn about her backstory is just very, very interesting. And what happened with Carmilla is her downfall is she craved too much power, because she went from a girl, right, like she explained, had no power, got used, to when she finally gained some power, just couldn't have a limit on how much power she wanted. That can be kind of a metaphor for life, you know, when someone gains so much money but then they want more and more and more, they don't know when to stop, and they're never satisfied with life. Because if you see with Carmilla's character, right, when Freya is talking to her, she goes, once you've taken over the whole world, will you be happy? And even Carmilla can't even answer that. She says she doesn't know, but she wants to take over the whole world anyway. And the problem with Carmilla and her downfall was that because she craved so much power, she kind of lost her friends in the process, because her friends were trying to express to her that they don't know, they're kind of unsure about this, but she wouldn't really take into consideration. And ultimately she kind of ends up doing the same thing Dracula does, where she kind of gets drunk on power and gets drunk on just wanting to take everything from people, and ultimately that ends up in her downfall when Isaac comes and kills her. Now, would Isaac have came anyway? Probably, but if she was more focused on maybe her friends, or more focused on the now, and more focused on building what she had now, would Isaac have had a good opportunity like that to maybe slip in and take everything from her? Probably not. Let's say if she just used Hector properly and actually, sorry guys, my phone's ringing. Now, if she actually used Hector properly and maybe instead of beating him up would actually try to talk him into helping them, he might have actually helped. But that's why someone like Freya was there, to be a diplomat. But I think the way she treated people and ultimately the way she loved power just led to her downfall. But what I will say about Carmilla is the way she went out in the show, not giving an absolute F, saying that you will not take my blood from me, and herself, you know what, even though her downfall was pretty sad, she went out in such a cool way. And you know what, Carmilla's voice actor, the English voice actor, was really good at portraying Carmilla's feelings and emotions and just her cockiness and her I don't give a F attitude.
Look at you all, you're not big enough to kill me. You're nothing. You don't deserve my blood.
But for me, you know what, Carmilla's character, I really loved her character, and the way she went out again was kind of sad, but still still, it was an epic fight between her and Isaac, and I really enjoyed it. Now, the next character I'm going to get into now is Freya. I don't have too much to say about Freya because she's not really in the show too much, but the reason why her character was so interesting to me, right, is because when we first see Freya, right, she is basically called a diplomat within the group of the girls, and she is basically there to look if there's a problem that needs being solved. She's very good at talking, she's very good at using her looks, and I guess her speaking skills are very good to be able to, I guess, talk people into doing stuff. And her job with Hector was to get him to make the beast, because basically, right, Carmilla, she beat the hell out of Hector, right? I can't lie, it was kind of embarrassing. Then she stripped him naked and threw him in a cell. Now, would you want to help someone if they did that to you? No. But Freya, she kind of comes from a different angle, you know, she talks to him softly, she gives him food, and even at first where he's a bit hesitant and basically goes, look, I know what you're trying to do, she still persists to help him. And even when he tries attacking her, right, she still comes back and helps him. Now, at first in the show, she just seems like someone who was working for Camilla and just wants to manipulate Hector, and that's what I thought at first. But you see, she starts to express to Hector that she feels unappreciated. She feels like once the war starts, the girls will have no more use for her. Now, again, when I first heard this, I thought, look, a lot of the times if people are trying to manipulate you, they might tell you something emotional to get you to drop their guard around them, right? That's kind of one-on-one manipulation, right? If you know that, it's kind of like people will basically use emotional tactics to manipulate you, and that's what I thought she was doing. Now, that might have been what she was actually doing, because at the end of this, she does put that ring on him and basically put him under her control. But I think there was some truth into what she was saying, that she did feel unappreciated by the rest of the girls, right? And she did feel like once the war starts, they'll have no use for her. And I think even though, yes, she was still trying to manipulate Hector, there was some truth into what she was saying. And I think maybe she even started falling in love with him. I mean, they did have some nice, hot intercourse, right?
Come with me.
Yes.
Be mine.
Yes.
Tell me you're mine.
So I guess you could say that she was kind of falling in love with him, but at the same time was still trying to stay loyal to Carmilla. And even she voiced her uneasiness to Carmilla, and Carmilla went on this big rant saying that she wants to take over the whole world and that no one can stop her, yada yada. You know, she goes on that big rant, right? If you've watched season 3 or season 4, I think it is, you'll understand what I'm talking about, right? But this rant just makes Freya even more unsure about Carmilla, and you can see the rest of the girls feel the same way. Now, for me, I don't have much to say about Freya's character, but I think her character was very interesting in the story. And you know what? To be honest, I kind of just liked her and Hector's romance, or sort of romance, sort of slave and captee romance that went on there, but I still kind of liked it. And I think Freya is a very interesting character, and for me, she made season 3 and season 4 really good. And yeah, that's really all I've got to say about Freya. Like I said, I don't have much to go into about her, but I think, you know, we can all relate to the feeling of, I guess, not feeling appreciated, or not all of us, but I guess some of us can relate to that feeling of not feeling appreciated of where we are. And for me personally, out of all the 4 girls that were there, she was definitely like the second most important for me personally, because she kind of reminds me of Armin, right, from Attack on Titan, where she's the diplomat. And you know what, you always need someone who's a diplomat. You always need someone who can talk to the enemy side, and whether it's manipulating or just talk them down, you kind of need someone like that on your team. You need someone that around you that can be the voice of reason, that can kind of bring everyone together. And I think she was more important than she's seen herself, really. I think she was way more important. And again, that's another thing with Carmilla's downfall, is she didn't really appreciate the people around her, and Freya was one of them. But Freya is definitely an interesting character. Let's move on to Isaac. Now, Isaac for me, and Isaac is the Forge Master, right? He is the other Forge Master to Hector, because there's 2 Forge Masters, right? Now, Isaac for me, the reason why I like his character, and he probably, if I had to pick any character out of every character in Castlevania, he's definitely top 3 for me out of the characters that I enjoyed, right? Because his growth, right, and we get to learn a lot about Isaac even from season 1. His growth goes from a boy who was beat by humans, right? That's where his disdain, I think I'm saying that right. That's where his hatred for humans comes from, because he was beat by humans, right? He was beat every day. He explains how his pastor, I think it was his pastor, or basically kind of a father figure in his life, used to beat him all the time. And you see, he used to do the same thing to himself. He used to hit himself as well, and he said he used to focus his mind, where really you kind of see he was really traumatized, the fact that he would repeat the same stuff that happened to him by someone else to himself. So he was a really traumatized character. But he went from a character who hated humans, right, and a character who got beat by humans, then to a character who hated humans and joined Dracula's core, right, to basically wipe out all of humanity. And then we see Dracula save him and push him into this desert thing where he is left alone. And we see throughout the season 3 and season 4, he is grappling with the thought of, do I want to be content with humanity, or 2, do I want to carry out Dracula's plans to kill humanity? Now, which character does that remind you from? Does it not remind you of a certain character from JJK? Exactly that. Now with Isaac, right, I like the path he goes down, because he goes down a path of kind of self-reflection, because he first runs into some humans in the desert, right, and he tries to reason with the humans. He goes, look, I don't want to hurt you, please just leave me alone. And again, they don't leave him alone. He has to attack them. And then we get a second scene where this old man helps him out, giving him this mirror. And this mirror, basically, you can connect with anyone and you can kind of travel through. It's kind of like a portal, right? And this human is very nice to him. You see his opinion change again. He's kind of in the middle again, and then he runs into some more humans that try attack him again. And we'll see constantly, like I just said, throughout the season, he is grappling with the feeling of, do I want to save humans, or do I like humans, or humans just bad? We see that he starts to build an army to go kill Camilla, and once he's killed Camilla, which I just said before in the Camilla part of this video, that fight was pretty epic, we see at the end that he stops Hector from bringing back Dracula, and he goes, look Hector, we should live our lives how we want to live them. Because, and I really like this, because he spent his whole life living for someone else. First he lived for revenge against humans, and then he lived for kind of Dracula's plan of killing all humans. It never was his own plan, he just followed Dracula. And now that Dracula's gone, he feels like he has to take that step up and kind of be a leader himself and change the world himself. Now look, will he change the world? We don't know, but I feel like every person in life has this moment where they think, look, I'm going to think for myself. I'm not going to let my parents or anyone dictate the way I think. Now, that's not to say you don't listen to your parents, but I mean, you start to develop your own mind and your own morals and your own path in life. And that's what Isaac did. But for me, he's probably one of the best developed characters in Castlevania for me personally, because even at the start of the show, you see, he doesn't really talk that much, right? He doesn't really, or he kind of talks in riddles. As the story ends, you see, he knows what he wants. He's very well spoken, and he's pretty clear about his goals. And while he always respects Dracula, he says, let the man rest. And I think, you know what, I think that's a good way to end Isaac's kind of story, because I don't know if there'll be a season 5 of Castlevania, but I think the ending scene with him and Hector was really good. And the fact that now he's following in his own footsteps and following his own path, I think his character development, like I just said, was really, really good, and I really thoroughly enjoyed Isaac's character. But last but not least, we're going to talk about Hector. Now, just like Freya, I don't have too much to say about Hector, because we don't learn too much about Hector's past. It wasn't really nothing that really stuck with me, right? But with Hector, when I first seen him, I thought, this guy keeps getting manipulated, right? So he first gets manipulated by Dracula, because Dracula tells him, look, I'm not going to kill the humans. I'm just going to kind of lock them up and control them. Don't worry, I won't kill the humans. That's not what he wanted to do. He literally wanted to kill all the humans. So first Hector gets manipulated in that way, right? And then Carmilla sees this and plays on his unsureness and his kind of insecurities about Dracula. And then she gets him to turn against Dracula, which he then regrets doing after and feels really guilty about it, right? Then Carmilla beats the hell out of him, which I just explained earlier. He gets imprisoned, stripped down, water thrown over him, gets food with, well, bugs in it, right? Then he gets Freya, and again gets manipulated by Freya. Now look, do I realize that Freya probably had some good intentions with him and didn't exactly want to manipulate him? Yes, but nonetheless, he's still got manipulated by Freya. So this is 3 people who he has been manipulated. And now look, can I admit that it'll manipulate you in different ways in your life? Of course they can, right? But when I'm looking at it in terms of an anime, it's like, fucking hell, man. It's like, damn, you just keep getting manipulated, don't you? But I think for me, it's kind of the same thing with Isaac, where at the end, I like how he decides to live for himself. And you remember that scene where he cuts off his finger, right, to basically sever the connection between him and Freya? It kind of reminded me of that Naruto moment where he stabs the kunai through his hand. He's basically going, look, I'm going to live for myself. And even Isaac goes to him, what do you want? And this is a question that is actually constantly asked to him, because he seems like a guy, he doesn't know what he wants, he just follows other people. And he's constantly asked this question throughout the season, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And then when Isaac asks him at the end, he goes, you know what? I just want to live in peace, and I just want to live with Freya.
What do you want, Hector? I want to be left alone with Lenore. I want to read and make things and think. That's all I really want now.
Then you shall have it.
And you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough, but I like how he finally decided to live for himself, just like Isaac. And I think him and Isaac, but especially Isaac, are definitely the most interesting characters, right? More so Isaac, but he was definitely still an interesting character. Now, if you want to know my takeaway from season 3 or season 4, I thought the fights were better, the story was definitely better, there was a lot of great scenes. I didn't go into, obviously, Trevor or the girl that Trevor travels with. What is her name now? The girl, Sapphire, is that her name? I think her name's Sapphire or something like that. I'm probably totally getting that wrong. And obviously Dracula's son, I didn't go into them three, even though they're kind of the main character of the show. I do like their characters, but I feel like the side characters are the ones that really jumped out to me more. And you know what? The thing is with this show, I've realized why so much characters don't get enough story time is because this show, it really does a good job at world building and kind of getting every character involved. But that's why I always said I feel like it needed more episodes in each season just to kind of build on this world. But look, season 3 and season 4, definitely better. Overall, great anime, and I would definitely recommend anyone that's maybe watching this video that hasn't watched it to watch it. Or yeah, but my opinion is season 3 and season 4, really good. I enjoyed it. But look, you guys, you tell me what you enjoyed, right? You tell me what you liked about season 3 and season 4. If you did like it, if you didn't like it, let me know as well. And look, if you guys want to see me maybe break down another anime that I've watched, let me know in the comments below, and I will do that if I actually enjoy it enough to break it down. And look, this has been Anime Kane. Thank you for watching, listening, or however you choose to indulge in my content. And peace. I am out.